Hi, I'm Georgie Griffiths, and each week we'll be sharing with you a short bonus episode of our podcast where we'll go behind the scenes and briefly meet some of the great people who work at Colliers. This week we'll get to know Minta from our Learning and Development team. Can you tell me a little bit about yourself and your job role?
Well, firstly, thanks for having me. So I guess a little bit about me. I grew up in Melbourne, Australia, and I've lived in a few different places in Canada and now London in the UK. I love life on this side of the world, so I do feel like it is my indefinite home. I joined Colliers a couple of years ago after a pretty intense interview process. I had to deliver a training session to the HR team via Skype because I was still in Melbourne at the time. So, although my job title is Learning and Development Consultant, I would see my role very much as providing a non-intimidating learning environment for all of our employees at Colliers UK. And the aim of that is to provide them with new skills, tips, techniques on a range of business skills so that our employees can apply this to their clients. There's quite a few of us in the business. There's about 800 across 16 different offices. So I'd say it's a pretty busy job.
What do you love about working at Colliers?
For me, Colliers Colliers UK is very much a family feel. I feel that we're big enough. I mean, we're a global business across 68 different offices. So I think because of that, we have the ability to take a risk and try new things, which is great, which, helps us be more entrepreneurial, which is one of our key values. But I also love that I know everyone's name and I can have conversations with people without, either of us feeling like a number. So, I love that Colliers is big enough to do new things, but we're also small enough to know each other by name.
How do you think your role has evolved during 2020?
My role has definitely changed over the last year. I think pre-COVID, I was traveling almost every week to deliver training sessions out to our regional offices. Since March, we've had to adapt all of our training to remote learning. So all of our courses or instructor-led courses are now delivered via Microsoft Teams. So March and April was a really busy time, just trying to amend that. I think pre-COVID, our focus was very much delivering full-day training courses on things like business development, pitching, presentation skills, negotiation skills, personal brand. But when we went into lockdown, it became pretty apparent what our employees needed and how that changed since COVID came about. So now it's very much about, remote client management, learning more about each of the different business service lines that we have at Colliers, our employees' well-being, and keeping all of our employees engaged. I've been working really hard over the last month developing a new suite of training courses called Rapid. Rapid because the courses will be delivered in 60 minutes rather than half-day or full-day courses. So, everyone has had experience with camera fatigue, and even as a facilitator, I think it's really important to keep people engaged. So our new courses moving forward will be much shorter courses. So, everything from business analytics, business growth, well-being at home and at work, resilient thinking, basic finance skills like introduction to P&Ls, how to understand cash flow. And throughout the year, we've also continued to deliver things like unconscious bias training for our senior leaders. It's really important that we meet our business plan and our strategy for the year. So we've continued to do that.
Can you tell us something interesting about yourself that we might not already know?
I don't know, maybe this is an Aussie thing, but I love road trips. A standard road trip in Australia is like 8 hours long. So in 2015, when I left Melbourne, I went in search of adventure and I did multiple solo road trips. And I would say my favorites were exploring Hawaii and Iceland. So 2 places I could visit every year.
What would you say your top tip is for working in HR?
I love my job and I'm very fortunate to work in a brilliant HR team. I think for anyone wanting to work in HR, it's really important for them to understand the employee life cycle and especially where you can add value. So for me in particular, HR has multiple different specialties, and for me, my passion and focus is on developing people. So whether that be something, developing them personally, so something like their emotional intelligence, or whether it's professional skills like business soft skills. I think it's really important for me in my role to be able to balance helping employees to develop, but also helping managers to get the best out of their people and create high performing teams. So, it's always a two-way street.
Thanks so much for listening to our bonus episode. Please don't forget to follow us on all the usual social channels to find out who our next guest will be.